Seeing is believing, and you're not going to believe how bright and vivid the colors are on the Samsung Neo QLED and OLED TVs powered by the Neural Quantum Processor, because this is an audio ad. Unless you can't see it, which means you already have one. Nice. Samsung, more wow than ever.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Ever heard about Bi-berianism? Well, I hadn't either until I started listening to Carl Munson's Good Morning Portugal show. I wrote a little piece about it in the Portugal News, and here's Carl to read all about it.
Well, thank you, Doug. This is great. This is really the coming out as Bi-berian article that you wrote. When was this? On the 23rd of April of 2023 as a podcast. And thank you for that, for queuing it up like that, for teeing it up. Here we go. Douglas Hughes in the Portugal News, coming out as Bi-berian. My ideas regarding travel seem markedly different to many other people's. Thing is, I enjoy getting to know a place and learning a little bit about it, which often means returning to the same places. Whistle-stop tours just never appealed, but that's just the way I personally feel. At the end of the day, we must all do what floats our individual boats. It's a case of horses for courses when it comes to recreational activities, including travel. Some enjoy hot climates, whilst others cannot abide by the heat. Some of us relish busy resorts or adventure holidays, whilst others prefer peace and tranquility. All of this determines where we choose to travel and, of course, when we choose to do so. Those of us who enjoy Portugal will have long since realized that this country has so much to offer. It has everything from thriving tourist meccas to tranquil rural villages, which are often surrounded by naught but terraced vineyards and olive groves. But having said that, Spain also has all of the above. This is why these days I see myself as being Ib-curious or even Euro-fluid. Why not? It just means an aptitude for variety. Spice of life. We've got the sharp wit of one Mr. Carl Munson of Good Morning Portugal, guilty as charged, to thank for all those colourful terminologies such as Ib-curious and Bi-berian. Having appeared on his daily Good Morning Portugal live stream show, 8:30 on YouTube, 8:30 in the mornings, we've discussed the question of Bi-berian inclinations, says Doug. By so doing, I finally come out as Bi-berian. You see, I'd always realized that I had a tendency not to look at things from a singularly Portuguese perspective. I always prefer to cast the net a little further afield in order to experience some of Spain as well. Gazing beyond that most ancient geopolitical border is actually great fun, and this way, variety definitely becomes the spice of life. I often find myself somewhat humbled when I think of those great Iberian mariners and navigators of old. They'd clearly learned so much about their respective homelands that they decided to explore the possibility that there might be a whole new world to be discovered beyond these vast Iberian horizons. Considering they were only hazarding what was no more than an educated guess about whether or not such new worlds actually existed beyond the realms of Iberia's setting sun, they really were incredibly brave souls, and it all probably started by being Ib-curious. Clearly, it's a mindset that can lead us all to much greater things. Having thoroughly enjoyed exploring nearly every corner of Britain and Ireland, those experiences allowed me to become conversant about my own patch. Finding new places to learn about in Spain and Portugal reawakened old wow factors, such as the one I experienced when I first beheld the majestic Scottish Highlands or the beautiful lakes of Killarney. Okay, those early explorations were hardly intrepid, but they were nonetheless highly memorable, especially when done with my young family in tow. Frankly, I'd been far too lazy to drag our young kids and babies onto flights abroad. To me, all the airport stuff smacked of hard work, opposed to a holiday. When I'm over here, and that's in Portugal, of course, and I'm reading from the Portugal News, this is Douglas's piece on becoming Iberian here, coming out as Bi-berian. Thank you, Doug, for doing this, by the way. Yes, cultural differences we're going to be talking about in just a moment as well. But when I'm over here, says Doug, here in Portugal, I do try to look at the whole of the Iberian Peninsula as being my oyster. Doing so automatically broadens horizons as we explore its countless hidden corners. Frankly, I think Ibecuriousness is an enlightened mindset. It paves the way towards getting to know more about this vast peninsula rather than steadfastly sticking to certain corners of it. Of course, Iberia is an absolutely vast landmass. It actually boasts far more than its fair share of Europe's landscape diversity. We've seen Iberian landscapes range from lofty snow-capped mountains to scantily populated rural villages, complete with free-roaming goats and cattle. There's even a semi-arid desert, which is incredibly beautiful in its own unique way. All of this without even mentioning the huge conurbations which are typical of Iberia's thriving towns and cities, with their staggeringly ornate architectural marvels, wondrous art galleries, and a range of fabulous museums which never fail to impress. On to those cultural differences then. Of course, there are enough cultural differences between Spain and Portugal to actually make the two Iberian territories feel very different places, to feel very different places on so many levels. By simply crossing the river Guadiana from VRSA Villarreal Sant Antonio to Ayamonte, you'll immediately be immersed by a totally Spanish vibe as soon as you step off the ferry and walk the short distance from the jetty to Plaza de Laguna, Ayamonte's central square. There are different sounds, it looks different, and actually even smells different to the Portuguese side because the foods aren't the same. I don't think I've been offered a pastel de nata in any of Ayamonte's cafes. Bars don't routinely sell Portuguese beers there either, nor will you find Portuguese coffee for that matter. Even though Portugal is visible just a few hundred yards away from Ayamonte, across the Guadiana, culturally, you may as well be slap bang in the middle of Seville. There's even a bit of Sevilla's somewhat ubiquitous flamenco and fan vibes going on. Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Let me read that again. There's even a bit of Sevilla's somewhat ubiquitous flamenco and fans vibe going on. There you go. And it's wonderful. Flamenco dancers always look fabulous in their colourful dresses as they perform those famously wild moves. It certainly makes me feel like I've well and truly arrived in glorious Andalusia. I was told that flamenco was first inspired by Andalusian gypsy culture. It communicates passion, love, sadness, despair, joy, and much more besides. Because flamenco has long become such an integral symbol of Spain's identity, it's always a joy to see. It's kind of strange to simply stroll onto a ferry in Portugal and find it so immediately in Ayamonte. But I guess all this works the other way around too. Just as flamenco and its Spanish guitars embody the spirit of Spain, fado is a traditional music vibe that resonates through many Portuguese backstreets, including in the Algarve. Of course, fado hails from the Lisbon area. The wistful, melancholic, even fatalistic songs can be about almost any subject. But the subject matter is all too often about the cruelty of the sea, or the hard lives and toil of the poorest people who once worked on the land or lived in traditional fishing communities where maritime tragedies, sadly, weren't all that uncommon. The wistful, mournful character of fado is best but loosely described by the Portuguese word saudade, which describes the heartbreak and longing which follows tragedy and loss. It's all rather different from flamenco, I think you'll agree. As mentioned earlier, the Iberian Peninsula is so vast that cultural disparities vary not just between Spain and Portugal, but they also exist between the many autonomous regions of Spain itself. In Portugal too, the Algarve is clearly very different from Lisbon and its conurbations. Northern Portugal is so different from the south, and it's all to do with the land and the many differing challenges that the peoples of Iberia have conquered over generations. So I'm rather pleased to have discovered my Ibe-curious inclinations once again. I have no hesitation in coming out publicly and happily to declare loud and proud that I am indeed fully Bi-berian. There you go. Disclaimer there on the Portugal News. The views expressed on this page are those of the author and not of the Portugal News. Nice one, Douglas Hughes in the Portugal News. We'll see you again soon on the Good Morning Portugal show soon, Doug. Always great to talk to you and always great to read your contributions to the Portugal News at theportugalnews.com.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, Saver. Whether you're saving for that trip to the tropics or saving for an emergency, now is the time to take advantage of Wells Fargo's savings options. Wells Fargo offers savings accounts that can help you save towards your goals. So, what are you saving for? Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/save to open a savings account today.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.